Hey guys, welcome back here to the Fishing Teacher, and appreciate you guys coming by the channel today to watch the video. Hey guys, today we're going to do a basic 101 video, but a lot of people don't get this right, and I want to go into detail how to do it. They think they got it right, and I'm going to show you in detail, guys, how to rig a Texas rig worm, because I can promise you, after you see the way that I rig a Texas rig worm, you probably say, well, I've never thought about that before, or most people don't do it, but this is something that has come through decades of trial and error, trying to figure out the best way to actually rig one. There's a lot of different ways you can, so we're gonna get into that in today's episode here. Also, guys, quick reminder, Solar Bat has got the biggest sale of the year going on right now on my Signature Series glasses, my RB2s and 3s, in celebration for our country's 250th anniversary this month. Solar Bat's selling the glasses here for 50% off, guys. That's right, half price on my glasses, including if you use the promo code RandyB, you get free shipping and handling. Got 3 different frame colors, guys. We got the matte gray, we got black, we got tan, a bunch of different lens colors, optical clarity second to none on these Solar Bats. Don't fog up, stay on your head. You guys will absolutely love them. I'll put the Solar Bat link in the description if you guys would like to get a pair. And also, guys, real quick, anybody interested in booking a private on the water lesson with me, all you got to do is go to my Facebook page, Intuitive Angling with Randy Blaukat. Shoot me a private message for details, so appreciate that. Okay, guys, let's get into this Texas rigging. Texas rig's been around forever, man. It's like one of the oldest lure categories out there. Very basic. You know, it's just you've got a slip sinker and a hook and a worm. Weedless, probably have counted for more bass than any other lure out there. So guys, I want to go into detail here about how you want to actually rig a Texas rig in preparation, to set it up. Now this has a lot to do with a couple of different things. It has to do with how many bites you're going to get. It has to do with how many fish you're going to land, if you lose them or not. And rigging a plastic worm is going to make a big difference if you don't rig it right. So I'm going to go over some of the things that I have learned personally about it. Okay, first of all, when you're talking about the slip sinker itself, the color is one of the main considerations. And most slip sinkers, you either have unpainted, which are the silver, or you got black, or you got some type of a green pumpkin. Now, I like to try to match my sinker with the worm color or the soft plastics I'm using. In other words, if I'm using a dark, like a June bug or red bug or black and blue, I like the black sinker. If I'm using like a watermelon or green pumpkin, I'll use the watermelon or green pumpkin type slip sinker. One thing that I have noticed, though, this is sort of an interesting thing. If I use a green pumpkin or brown slip sinker on a dark colored worm, say for example, I got a green pumpkin slip sinker on a black and blue worm, I don't get as many bites. But you can use a black sinker on like a green pumpkin worm. I don't understand it, doesn't make sense to me, but that's something I've noticed. So if you don't want to go out and buy a bunch of different slip sinkers, guys, just get black ones here. And also, guys, I'm going to put in my Tackle Warehouse link in the description of the video here, everything I'm talking about. I'm going to give you a link to the slip sinkers I use, the hooks I use, all that type of stuff, so you can get all that if you go to the link in the description of this video here. Okay, the first thing that I do with them is I don't want to peg my sinker unless I have to. In other words, I want the sinker to slide freely, because a lot of times what happens, if you get a bass and they come up and jump it, if you don't have your sinker pegged, the sinker will separate from the worm, and all the bass has in their mouth is the hook, so they have a lot less leverage to throw the hook. If you peg the sinker like this, they've got the sinker in their mouth, and if they shake it, they got more leverage. So if I'm fishing like more open water scenario, like I'm casting into a grass bed, or I'm casting off a point, working down a gravelly type bank or something, or if it's not real thick cover, I usually do not peg my sinker. I let it slide free, and this is something I learned from Larry Nixon years ago. But if I do have to penetrate, or if I'm flipping over something, like over a lay down tree or into some lily pads or flooded bushes, I do peg my sinker. And guys, the best pegging system is a toothpick. It's cheap, get them at the supermarket. There's a lot of different pegging systems out there, like the bobber stoppers and the peggets. There's nothing, in my opinion, that works better than a toothpick. And the reason is because you can adjust the tension. In other words, you can barely put it in there if you want the sinker to slide just a little bit, and you can really stuff it up in there hard if you don't want it to move at all. So It doesn't nick your line, guys. I've never broke off from, you know, putting a toothpick in there. Toothpick is by far the best pegging system. Okay, and the next thing is the hook, guys. This is the hook I'm going to link in my Tackle Warehouse link. This is the Gamakatsu G Finesse heavy cover worm hook. I have experimented with literally every worm hook that you can possibly use. Different brands, different styles, everything. The best one for Texas rig fishing, I don't care if it's a plastic worm or a creature bait or whatever, is this straight shank Gamakatsu. I'll put this in my Tackle Warehouse link too if you want to try one. I've tried the EWGs, I've tried the offsets, I've tried different diameters of them, and this is the one that I prefer for my own fishing in terms of I like the way the bait looks in there and I land a lot of fish. Okay, the next thing is how you rig the worm on here. This is the big one here. Now, first of all, if you're using a curly-tailed worm like this, you want to make sure that you have the hook coming out the concave side here. This will give you better action on the worm. So if you're using a ribbon tail worm or even a curly tail worm, every worm has, if you look at it, it's got a seam. You can see where the seam's at, and make sure that the hook comes out on this side right here and not that side. It just gives your worm better action. So the first thing I do is I want to come through and give myself plenty of room. So I come through like a 1/2 of an inch. A lot of people don't. And the reason that I do that is I want this knot completely buried in the worm. If you only come through like 1/8 of an inch or 1/4 of an inch, a lot of times that knot is going to come out the top of the worm there. And what the problem with that is if that knot comes out the top of the worm, your slip sinker is not going to, it's not going to seat level with it. So your slip sinker is going to be crooked a little bit. So always come through, you know, plenty far enough. And then another thing, guys, is once you get this hook back in there, you do not want to just stick it back in the middle like this to make it weedless. A lot of people do that. You don't want to do that. You just want to skin hook it on the side like this. All you got to do is just barely skin hook it. See, I've got the barb and the point in there, and that way the worm is still completely straight, like you see. But when the fish bites it, since that hook is just in the side there, it separates away from that worm immediately, and you hook the fish every single time. And then finally, guys, you want to make sure your worm is perfectly straight. If you get a worm in the package that's crooked, either boil it and straighten it out or get rid of it, but you're going to get a lot more bites if you have a straight worm. And also, do not use too big of a worm hook. You always want to go normally a little bit smaller on the worm hook than what you think, because you're not really after the power of a big heavy hook, you're after the penetration. The whole key in worm fishing is you want to get that barb in the fish's mouth, and the smaller the hook that you have, the more apt that you are. So anyway, guys, that's just a few Texas rig tips that I picked up. You can use that on worms, you can use it on creature baits or whatever. It just works for me, and I've learned the hard way from losing fish and experiment a little bit. But anyway, guys, I'll have everything linked in the description. I'll have the worms, I'll have the hooks, the weights. I'll also have the reel here. This is the new Cast King ALTI bait cast reel. Absolutely freaking love this thing. If you guys want to check that out, and hope it helps you guys catch some good ones. And we'll talk later.